Welcome to the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast. I'm your host, Gwendolyn Mitchell, founder and CEO of Monroe Institute and lifelong spiritual seeker and energy worker. Here for thoughtful conversations about health, healing, and happiness by, for, and about Black and African American women. Disclaimer, the Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast does not provide medical advice. The opinions, experiences, and insights shared are for informational purposes only. Nothing shared in this podcast is intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. Don't disregard or delay seeking it because of what you've heard on this podcast. Thank you. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Love Letters to Our Bodies family. I'm Gwen Mitchell, your host. I'm happy to have with me today Lisa Monroe, the founder of Aflo Health Foundation. Lisa is a certified physician assistant, educator, and advocate dedicated to advancing health equity for Black girls and women. She is the founder and executive director of Aflo Health Foundation, a nonprofit organization that empowers Black girls through culturally responsive health education, body literacy, mentorship, and self-advocacy. In her clinical practice, Lisa is a primary care provider at Aflo Health in Oakland, California, where she practices in adult medicine, gynecology, and reproductive health. She also serves as the director of cervical cancer screening for both Aflo Health and Alameda Health System, leading initiatives to improve cervical cancer prevention and to access care for medically underserved communities. With more than 18 years of clinical experience, Lisa is passionate about empowering Black girls and women with the knowledge and confidence to advocate for their health at every stage of life. Through her clinical practice and community work, she is committed to creating healthier futures by combining evidence-based medicine with culturally responsive education. Welcome, Lisa. I'm so happy that you're joining us today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to dive right into 18 years. You look like you're only 18 yourself.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I feel 80. No, I'm just kidding.
All that good service and good work. So, Lisa, you've spent 18 years in healthcare seeing what happens to Black women's bodies.
Yes.
In emergency rooms and gynecology clinics, reproductive health. When did you realize that treating illness wasn't enough and that something had to be done much earlier?
Yeah, the truth is it wasn't one patient or one defining moment for me. I've worked in many different specialties, and I realized that I wasn't just treating medical conditions. I was caring for women who had spent years questioning themselves, apologizing for asking questions, not feeling confident to speak up when something didn't feel right in their body. I also became aware of the unique challenges Black women face in our healthcare system. Too often Black women aren't listened to, their pain is underestimated, their symptoms are dismissed, and diagnosis tends to come so much later than it should. And I kept asking myself, how did we get here? Eventually, I realized I couldn't help my patients out of a problem that often began decades earlier. I wanted to be part of the change of Black women's health outcomes. And the future of a Black woman's health begins long before adulthood. So if I wanted to help change it, I couldn't start with women. I had to start with girls. And I wanted to help Black girls grow into women who knew and trust their bodies, women who have knowledge and confidence to advocate for themselves and receive the care they deserve long before they even need it. So the healthcare system absolutely has to do better. But while we're working to improve the system, I believe we also have an opportunity to prepare girls differently.
Beautiful, beautiful. So tell us about the moment Aflo Health Foundation was born. Was there a specific patient, a conversation, or a moment with your own daughters that made you say, I have to do this?
Oh, it was definitely my daughters. I always say Aflo was born when two parts of my life came together, and that was the clinician and the mom. I was blessed with three daughters. Not one, not two, but three daughters. And I'm so nervous, y'all. No, all kidding aside, I'm nervous because I know the world they're growing up in. The protector in me always wants to shield them from every hurt, every unhealthy relationship, every message they're going to receive about their bodies, their worth, or who they're supposed to be. But I also had to be really honest with myself. I can't protect them from everything, right? That's just not realistic. And as a mom, that's an incredibly humbling reality check. And I remember thinking, if I can't protect them from everything, how do I prepare them? And I realized that even though I couldn't control every message that they were going to receive, maybe I could help shape the foundation they would use to navigate those messages. Because the real protection isn't shielding them and our girls from the world, right? That's not realistic. It's preparing them to move confidently through it and building the resilience they're going to need when life inevitably challenges them. So I realized I wanted, what I wanted for my daughters wasn't a privilege. It's every Black girl's right. And that's when Aflo just stopped being an idea. It became something I felt called to build.
Beautiful, beautiful. And, you have three daughters, and I
do.
think the divine knows how to assign these beings appropriately. I have sons, and I have two sons, and I'm happy that you got the three daughters.
Well, I was scared when I found out I was pregnant with the first one. I was like, oh.
Exactly.
And then two came after. I'm like, okay, we're in this now.
Exactly. So the name Aflo, what does it mean to you, and what are you calling into being with it?
Oh, I love this question. So Aflo is a combination of the words Afro, like your hair, and Antflow, the nickname for your period. So it's kind of a play on words, but to me, it does embody much more than that. So the two put together, it symbolizes Blackness and femininity, our crowns, our beautiful hair, because, for Black women, our hair has always been so much more than just hair. It's our expression. It's our creativity. It carries our history. It's our source of pride. So it's something that Black women care for daily and celebrate. So I believe our bodies deserve that same reverence. And I wanted Aflo to evoke that same feeling. Our bodies deserve to be understood and celebrated and protected rather than feared and shamed. I'm calling in a world where every Black girl grows up feeling seen and deeply connected to herself, connected to the women that came before her, and confident about the woman she's becoming. And I want her to know that our bodies aren't problems to solve. They're gifts we should understand and cherish. And I want every Black girl to grow up believing that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I just love the sound of it. Aflo, it just has a very elegant, beautiful, and grounded sound. So I'm glad you came up with that.
Thank you.
So you use the phrase body sovereignty in your work with Black girls. What does that mean to you, and why is it so important to plant that seed early?
To me, body sovereignty is knowing and trusting your body, just plain and simple. And it begins with body literacy. So when I say body literacy, I just mean simply understanding how your body works. Because before a girl can make informed decisions, she has to know her body and in many ways know herself, because you can't advocate for what you don't know. And for me, that understanding came much later in life. When I was growing up, like most girls, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I had a wonderful mom and incredible women in my family who loved and supported me, but I still had a lot of questions. And like a lot of girls, let's be frank, there was some things I didn't feel comfortable just asking mom about. So those questions went unanswered for a while. Looking back now, I realized I didn't truly begin to understand my body and myself until I was in my 40s. And through that understanding, I gained the confidence to pursue paths that I never would have imagined, like becoming an entrepreneur, starting a nonprofit. And sometimes I wonder, well, what would have happened if I understood those things 20 years earlier? Who would I have become? What dreams might I have pursued? And I don't ask those questions with regret. I ask them because they remind me how powerful knowledge of self really is. And that's why I created Aflo. I wanted to be one of those spaces that I and so many women I know wishes that we had. So to me, body sovereignty is the truth, like knowing what and trusting your body so you can move through this world with confidence and pursue your dreams.
Beautiful, beautiful. You speak honestly about how mainstream health information often excludes Black girls and women, our bodies, our experiences, our history. How does that exclusion show up? And you mentioned before, like not being listened to. And what does culturally responsive health education actually look like in practice?
Yeah. That exclusion shows up in a lot of ways. It shows up when girls don't see themselves reflected in health education and the healthcare providers that are caring for them or the images and stories they're exposed to. It also shows up when conversations about our bodies are filled with shame and silence or even misinformation instead of openness and trust. So to me, culturally responsive health education is about teaching in a way that honors the lived experience of the girls that are sitting in front of you. It also means giving girls the opportunity to see physician assistants and other healthcare providers who look like them and reflect their communities, because representation builds trust and expands what's possible. And it reminds girls that they belong in healthcare spaces. So Aflo is helping to restore those spaces where girls can ask questions, learn about their bodies without shame, reconnect with the knowledge that has always belonged to them, and see themselves reflected in healthcare.
Beautiful, beautiful. So your work digs into ancestral and generational trauma and how it shapes confidence, self-esteem, and how young Black girls care for themselves. Can you walk us into that? And what are you seeing and what shifts when girls start to understand that lineage? And let me just say one thing before you answer that question. I was raised at a time where there was so little information. The guidance for avoiding pregnancy was keep your legs closed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I believe that for generations, knowledge about transitioning into womanhood was passed down naturally. So for centuries in many African communities, elders and trusted women share their wisdom and experiences and traditions with the next generation. Girls learn about their bodies and community with guidance and pride and a sense of belonging. But through the diaspora and displacement, a lot of that was lost. We lost a lot of many cultural traditions that naturally flowed, and the natural flow of knowledge was just interrupted. I don't believe it was lost. I believe it was interrupted. And that's what we're reclaiming today. I also believe it's been beneficial and in many ways profitable for Black women to remain disconnected to our bodies, our history, and our power, quite frankly. When people don't understand their bodies, they're more vulnerable to shame, misinformation, exploitation, and having someone else define their worth. So what I see today just isn't a lack of information. I see girls who have inherited silence and embarrassment, like you're describing, and messages that tell them their bodies are something to hide and fear or apologize for. I believe something beautiful happens when a girl realizes they're part of a much larger story and a much longer story. When they understand their knowledge isn't new and it's always belonged to them, they begin to see themselves differently. And they stop asking, well, what's wrong with me? And start asking, well, why wasn't I taught this? And I think that shift is so powerful. It replaces shame with understanding, silence with curiosity. It creates connection. And that's where confidence begins to grow. I believe it's our responsibility to reclaim that knowledge and embrace it and pass it to the next generation, because reclaiming our lineage isn't about looking forward. It's about giving our girls a stronger foundation to move forward.
Beautiful, beautiful.
The Love Letters to Our Bodies podcast is sponsored by Monroe Institute Incorporated, a nonprofit organization offering heart-centered educational experiences, and the Lloyd Symington Foundation, which supports visionary grassroots cancer programs.
So I understand that the Aflo model is built around 3 pillars: empower, learn, and share. Can you take us through each one and what it looks like when it's working?
Oh, I love this question. This gets me excited. Everything we do is built around three pillars that you just shared: empower, learn, and share. We empower by helping girls recognize that they're born worthy and enough. And we create that safe space where they can build the confidence to trust themselves and discover that they're actually in control of their minds and their bodies and their hearts. We learn by teaching body awareness and body literacy, helping girls understand how their bodies work so that they can make informed decisions about their health. And then we share. We share by honoring the traditions that we're passing down from one generation to the next. So we encourage the girls to share what they've learned with their families, their friends, their communities, because that's how knowledge and confidence and healing continue to grow.
Beautiful, beautiful. Body sovereignty camp.
Yes.
Body sovereignty camp. So
like
what?
Stats up.
Yeah, I love that. I wish there was something like that, like years and years earlier. Okay, so what do girls walk in carrying, and how long is it, and what does it look like, and then what do they walk out with?
So Body Sovereignty Camp is a wellness camp, and it celebrates the girls' coming of age journey. No, I get silly, but it's truly, we combine movement, creativity. We incorporate mentorship and African ancestral practices to help girls strengthen the mind-body connection. And it's done in a very joyful, celebratory, judgment-free environment. And I think the girls walk into camp carrying many of the things that I carried growing up, just that uncertainty, the uncertainty about who they are and where they belong. Many are curious, but shy, nervous, and quite frankly, some have never experienced a space that was created specifically to celebrate them. So at camp, they're invited to take up space, simply be themselves, be celebrated for exactly who they are. And they quickly realize they're surrounded by girls who look like them and have many of the same feelings that they do, and maybe even have feelings that they haven't been comfortable expressing to anyone before. They are surrounded by trusted mentors who are there to listen and encourage and remind them that they are enough. They walk out with confidence to express themselves and embrace their culture and build meaningful relationships within their community. I hope they are leaving knowing that their voice matters, their story matters, and there is strength in knowing who they are and where they come from. If they leave feeling more connected to themselves and each other and the generations of women that came before them, then camp has done its job.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So the Aflo Code after school program and the Aflo XOXO, how do these meet girls in different seasons of their lives?
One of the things I'm most excited about is Aflo is designed to grow with these girls as they grow. An 8-year-old doesn't necessarily need the same conversation as a 14-year-old. Our programs grow with them, so the conversation becomes deeper and more relevant at each stage. We start by introducing younger girls to the basics of puberty in ways that are age appropriate and easy to understand. And then as they get older, a flow code builds on that foundation, helping girls prepare for and better understand the changes they're experiencing as they begin to menstruate and approach beginning menstruation. Aflo XOXO is kind of where we bring it all together. So it's designed for teens who are ready to move beyond simply understanding what's happening to their bodies and begin applying that knowledge to real life situations. So with Aflo XOXO, we have deeper conversations about reproductive health, consent and boundaries, and navigating the healthcare system with confidence. So every stage builds on the one before it, and we're always meeting girls where they are while preparing for what's next.
Beautiful program, by the way. I really, really love it, and I can see how empowering it is for young women, girls, and entering young womanhood. So Ask Aflo Anything is such a powerful concept, a safe place to ask what you're too afraid to ask anyone else, maybe what you're afraid to discuss with your mom or your teachers. What kinds of questions are girls actually asking, and what does it say about the gap you're filling?
Oh, they ask everything. Sometimes they go down these rabbit holes, these incredible rabbit holes. And I'm like, honestly, how did we get here? And every now and then they teach me something I don't even know. So, but that's what happens. That's what we want. That's what happens when girls feel safe enough to be curious. I always tell them, you can ask anything, nothing's off limits, but I try to keep our conversations relevant and always make them age appropriate for the girls and the group that I'm working with. So my job is to serve as their guide and clarifier. As a physician assistant, I can help separate fact from fiction, dispel myths, and point them towards trustworthy sources so that they can know where to go for reliable information instead of just relying on social media or what they've heard from their friends. And what I've learned is that the questions themselves aren't the real story. The story is these girls have been carrying these questions around sometimes for months, and, even years without knowing who to ask. And the moment they realize they won't be judged or laughed at, the questions just start flowing. So
Beautiful.
to me, that's the gap that we're filling, not just providing the answers, but creating that place where girls feel safe enough to even ask the questions in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. So our listeners are primarily African American women, and many of whom are in the process of their own healing right now as adults. And what would you say to a woman who wishes she had access to what you're building when she was a girl? Talk to me, because you're listening to one.
I would say I see you, because in many ways I'm on that journey too. Too many girls lack safe spaces and trusted resources, not because their families don't care, but because those spaces haven't consistently existed. We can't change what we weren't taught, but we can choose what we reclaim and what we pass on from this moment forward.
Beautiful.
I hope that answers the question.
Yes, yes. We can change what we carry forward. And so I do feel that even listening to this conversation for women who are older who did not have that space will be healing, to let them know that they were deserving of such a space and to assure them that the generation coming behind them does have that space, at least in our community, and really encouraging young women to take advantage of these resources.
We're always on the journey, for sure.
Exactly, exactly. So there's a profound through line between what you're doing and what Monroe Institute holds. The idea that healing the body begins with knowing and owning it. And when did you recognize that connection?
Yeah, I love the mission of the Monroe Institute. Like I've already shared, I really didn't get that connection until I was much older, mid-40s. And I would say the more I learned about my body, the more I realized I'd spent years disconnected to it and from it. And healing doesn't begin with having all the answers. And it begins with reconnecting to yourself, and rebuilding that relationship has been one of the most healing parts of my own journey. And I think it's the most important.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. So you're a physician assistant, a researcher, an educator, a mom, and a founder. How do you tend to your own body and well-being in the midst of all of that?
That's a lot when you say it like that. It is a lot. And so for that reason, I'm very intentional with my time and who I allow in my space. My morning routine is probably the most important part of my day. I start every morning with meditation and a gratitude practice before giving my energy to anyone else. And I try to end my evenings the same way, if my daughters will allow. The days can be hectic. So many people need so many things from me throughout the day. So I've really learned to be mindful about when it's time to stop, and give myself grace when I need to rest, and remind myself that the old saying, I can't pour into others if I'm running on empty. So I am very intentional about filling my cup.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what does it look like when this work is fully realized in 10 or 20 years? What world are you building toward?
In 10 or 20 years, I hope programs like Aflo aren't the exception. They're the expectation. I want every Black girl, no matter where she lives, to have access to health education in spaces where she feels seen, celebrated, and supported. My dream is that Aflo programs like XOXO exist in every state across the country, reaching girls far and wide, because I want all girls to grow up with this information. I want it to simply be the norm. So I'm calling in a future where body literacy is normal, where healthcare feels safe, where representation is automatic, not just requested, and where every girl knows her body is worthy of understanding and celebrating.
I'm going to go clap, 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 clap for that.
That was channeled too. I was like, oh man, I hope it doesn't mess up because I can't do it again.
I just am seeing that and holding that vision with you, because that is definitely what I would like to see happen. And so many of us in the community would like to see happen for our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces, for the neighbor's girl, like just having that safe place to be yourself and to explore and find out who that is, right? And create the relationship that you are entitled to.
Yes.
Yes. So is there something that you've been wanting to say about Black girls' health or about the healing of African American women? And let me just say, you've said some really beautiful things.
Oh, thank you.
That you haven't had the right platform to say. If so, this is your space.
You're giving me too much space, Ms. Gwen. This is my soapbox. No, I'm kidding. I think one of the biggest mistakes we've made is believing we have to wait until Black women become patients before we invest in their health. By then, we're often asking women to heal from decades of silence and shame and misinformation, misdiagnosis, disconnection, all of the things. My dream is that one day we'll recognize that the healthiest Black women begin as informed Black girls. Mm-hmm. So if we invest in our girls today, we're not just changing individual lives, we're changing generations.
Mm-hmm. I think that's wonderful that we are changing generations.
Yes.
Yes. So if you were talking to a young girl and she had the task of writing a love letter to her body, what would that letter include?
I'm going to be honest, I've listened to your episodes and I was anticipating this question. So I actually wrote a letter.
Oh, fantastic.
That I'd like to share.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Please do so.
Okay. Here's my letter. Dear body, thank you. Thank you for showing up for me every single day, even on the days when I didn't appreciate you the way I should have. Please forgive me for the times I criticized you, ignored you, pushed you too hard, or expected more from you than you had to give. You carried me through every chapter of my life. You've been patient with me. And most importantly, you've never gave up on me. I promise to keep listening, to care for you with more kindness, to honor you instead of judging you, to trust you instead of doubting you, and to never forget that you have always been enough, just the way you were made. To every Black girl listening, your body is not your enemy. It is your home. Be kind to it. Listen to it, trust it, celebrate it. You have a lifetime together. Enjoy each other. With love, Lisa.
Oh my God, Lisa. Chills are running through my body.
That came straight from the heart chakra.
Oh my God. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for you, for the vision that you're holding, for the energy that you're emitting and transmitting to the young women that come into your space. It's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you. So, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for you that you've created spaces like this where conversations like this can happen. And I'm so grateful you invited me here to share this conversation with you and your listeners. I just want to say that I'm so grateful for the chance to even do this work and for all the help I've received along the way. I didn't know what I was doing or where it was going to lead, but I'm especially grateful to every organization, every person that's put a hand in making this happen. The NCCPA Health Foundation really helped. They saw the vision and believed in it, and they helped me bring it to life. So thank you. Thank everyone. I'm just so, so grateful to do this for our girls.
You are so, so welcome and so, so needed. And so it is. So you've been listening to Lisa Monroe, the founder of Aflo Health Foundation. And as you can see, this is an important conversation for the young women in our community. Share this with your daughters, with your nieces, with your neighbors' kids, with your family. Make sure that all young girls hear this conversation and grown women so that we can move forward knowing what the possibility is for us to create an informed, balanced, sovereign life. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening to Love Letters to Our Bodies, conversations on health, healing, and happiness. To find out more about the Love Letters to Our Bodies project, visit our website at moyoinstitute.org. That's MOYO Institute.org. Follow us on social media and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. If there are topics you'd like for us to discuss, let us know. Remember, your body is beautiful, girlfriend. Love it.